Yesterday marked the 70th anniversary of Benuan independence from European colonial rule. The day was celebrated as a public holiday, with Benu's president from the ruling FDNM party holding a massive political rally in the country's capital of New Marseille to announce a new political agenda for the next year. Prior to independence, the country was host to a famous years-long conflict, in which a coalition of European countries attempted to maintain colonial administration of Benu in spite of diplomatic pressure by the United States and the Soviet Union to decolonize. Approximately 1 million people died in the fighting as
Joanne, we have to get this presentation done by next week.
Then let's just do it next week.
That's not good academic discipline.
Okay, and do we really have to read all of these? I mean, there has to be something on Spark Notes about them.
Yes, we have to be African experts on revolution by next week.
But that's next week, so let's do it next week.
Nope, we're reading all of them. Now, what can you tell me about the revolution in New Marseille?
Nothing.
You want to know an interesting fact?
No, not really.
You know the revolutionary communist, Emile, right?
No, wait. Yeah, I know him.
Exactly, and you know Patrice.
First president. Yeah.
So apparently they shared jail cell together during the War of Independence.
What's interesting about that?
What if we found out what they were saying, because obviously there are two different types of people. So to have them in one place, what could they have said to each other? Did they tear each other's throats out? Did they do that and that? And we uncover what they said.
I'm truly not interested. I just want to finish the assignment.
Well, you want to finish the assignment, but I want to excel in the assignment. And that's what makes you Patrice and me Emile.
Contacte tes amis, j'apporte les boissons. J'organise ça un mardi, est-ce que ça joue? On se pose des questions, beaucoup trop de questions. J't'ai déjà tout expliqué, tu demandes encore, tu vois du compliqué.
Don, get your hands off me! You think this will stop the revolution? My God! I can't wait for the day I get to see you and your terrorist friends hang. It'll only make me a martyr in the eyes of the people.
I don't think your radicalist attitude is going to get you out of this prison, man. See, you're an Arab fighter. I have a question for you. Have you ever considered that just maybe your extremism is independent to our own gain of independence?
Oh my God. They could have at least put me in a different jail cell. I'd rather just get shot than spend 100 years with a liberal who parrots American propaganda for free.
Is standing for the political gain of independence of this country, anyway, parroting American propaganda.
Don't act as if the people share your vision of independence.
Do you even know it?
Oh, I know your vision of independence. You Democrats always publish your fluff in the newspapers. I've read your manifesto, all of it. It made good toilet paper for me and my comrades.
How mature of you. We as the Democrats get to lay out political demands, while you and your whole club in red and black go around inciting violence and cancelling out every one of our political gains, as we are now painted as you arrogant, violent communists.
Don't act as if those democratic gains that you and your club of intellectuals have been fighting for weren't already being taken back. Need I remind you that it was the colonialists who started this war by branding anyone they saw as the enemy as being a socialist? We had to fight back because your peaceful activity was never going to win us our independence.
I see. I get you. See, your Marxist ideology and the fetish for violence has blinded you all. All you want is this revolution which is going on and on and on without us getting our independence.
You can talk and yap about my Marxist ideology all day, but look where you are. Who has the fetish for violence here? Me? The freedom fighters of Benue? Or the terrorist scum who've thrown you in here and are going to execute you for treason?
Okay. Since you're so smart, then what do you want to see after we gain independence?
Be specific.
Okay, well, what kind of society do you want to see when you gain independence?
Well, simply put, I want a revolutionary government of the people.
Doesn't that seem vague? Even to me, it does.
Well then, what kind of society do you want to see?
I mean, for our agenda, firstly, want to see a world under which there's democracy and there's capitalism, free commerce. I mean, we have to look to countries such as America, where they've gained such things and seek to them to gain our independence.
Don't act as if America cares about your democratic movement because they genuinely care about democracy in New Marseille. They only care about you because the British and the Belgians and the Portuguese and the French used to loot this country of its copper and diamonds, and now they want their turn. Whatever democratic society you and your friends want will look exactly the same as this society, with the people falling into ever more poverty and the imperialists getting richer and richer. You talk about American democracy as if that's something to strive to. The same American democracy that enslaved our fellow brethren in the South, that same American democracy that slaughtered and displaced the original inhabitants of that land. You talk about implementing capitalism as if capitalism has ever benefited us Africans. Europeans were only able to get capitalism off of our backs and our labor. As if capitalism is doing any better in Europe, where millions of workers enjoy ample poverty thanks to your glorious capitalism.
So what do you propose them to do? Implement or sell out to your guys in Russia, then implement some sort of dictatorship where nothing rules? Then where would that ever end? Where we are sending nuclear weapons to Europe?
I mean, it sounds like a reasonable end goal.
You just don't get it, do you? Just don't get it. I mean, we won't get our independence through this violence. We'll get it through reason and negotiation. We can't afford a revolution with an unstable society, which we have now. Don't you see it? We need institutions, we need structure, we need family, culture, all of that for us to win this.
Don't act as if the people who threw you in here, and by the way, the same people who you've been negotiating with as you go up to Lancaster to sip tea with Kennedy and his friends, care about any of those things. Is it not the colonialists who brought devastation and horror to our families and culture?
God damn it! You don't see it, do you? You don't see it. You just don't see it. Okay. Let's say you win. Let's say. Will you not be embarrassed seeing your children see you as a nation being built by violence, revolution, blood all over? Will you not be embarrassed?
Don't talk about embarrassment and being a nation birthed in violence. The colonialists rule through violence. They love war. They exist through a perpetual war against the people of this land and the people of this nation and their way of life. The people are right now fighting for a war for their dignity and their souls. The shame should be passed on to Europe for thinking that they can control us through violence.
Okay. But then, do you represent the people? Do you think you do?
Why do you ask?
I mean, every day in the villages, You guys, you Marxists, hide among the villages, among the people, and let whole villages get slaughtered. Children, babies, mothers, everyone gets slaughtered.
Oh, how rich of you to accuse the colonialists slaughter whole villages of being orchestrated by the communists? You think it's our fault that they came and destroyed families, cultures, ways of life? Is that our fault? Now I see why you and your friends masquerade as politicians. You want to stand a chance of ruling the people when the colonialists eventually leave.
So what then do you believe in? I mean, what really do you really deeply believe in?
Well, I believe in the Benuian People's Republic. But if you want to get more specific, I'd say I'm a student of the teachings of Joseph Stalin.
Teaching. You believe in a state and you base this whole war on a state that does not even exist, with no stable foundation, no example.
You know, I think it's funny that you Democrats like to accuse the communists of neglecting the role of nation building, when it's in fact the nation that you want to build that's entirely artificial. There's no basis to this. I've seen your manifesto. You want to institute English as a national language of Benue. Since when have the people of Benue ever spoken English? You talk about needing a national base. Well, I'll tell you this. Right now, the people of this land are fighting a war for their humanity. The victory of that war will be the basis upon which national identity will exist, and from which Benue can finally build her society independent of European rule. Do you know what this land is called?
I'm guessing that you insist on calling it Benue.
No, I would not. Well, most people in this country call it Benue, but you're technically correct insofar as this country is called the Overseas Department of New Marseille. There's a deep irony, of course. Do you know what the anthem of the French Republic is called?
La Marseillaise.
Precisely. Now, the irony comes from the fact that this city, this land, is the site of a brutal and vain colonial war to preserve authoritarian domination. But it's named after a city in France that took part in a revolution to overthrow and depose the tyrannical rule of its time.
So what will you do now?
I don't know. Maybe wait until my comrades break me out of here. Maybe get executed. I'm not exactly like you. Can't really just call up the President of the United States whenever I'm arrested for political activism.
There's COVID.
I'm cutting. Wait. Okay, let's
Petit, je viens de te chercher.